Hello, my name is Rachel Rodriguez, and I'm the Academic Support Writing Specialist here at Chesapeake College, making a quick video for Professor William Thomas's Music and/or Humanities classes on thesis statements and introductions. So I'll give a little bit of information about myself first to start. Again, I work in the Academic Support Center, which is the free tutoring center on campus here at Chesapeake. We offer free tutoring in all subjects, writing in any class, math, science, technology, you name it, we have a tutor. I'll put some information here on the screen for an email address to email, as well as a phone number to call to get in touch with me at any time in order to make an appointment or to ask a question about seeing a tutor or even becoming a tutor yourself. So there's that information. I've got 3 subtopics for my little video today. The first is things to try. So when you're thinking about thesis statements and introductions for these classes, there's a few specific suggestions that I have for things to try for these classes. Now keep in mind that every class is different and every professor is different, so you might have different guidelines and different expectations for different classes that you have. That's normal and to be expected. So these suggestions are tailored specifically for Professor Thomas's classes, so just keep that in mind. A few things to do or to try. Obviously you're only going to want to try one technique at a time. Don't have interesting technique after interesting technique in a single paper. So starting out with your introduction or your thesis, you can start with a hook, which would be an interesting fact, a relevant piece of information, a surprising sentence, something that the reader is not expecting to see right off the bat as a first sentence for a paper or as the first stated sentence in an oral presentation. So that could just be, it'll depend on your topic, an unknown fact, a little known fact. It could be a statistic. It could be an image that you put in the reader's mind. It could be something from modern times that kind of links back to the historical topic that you've chosen for your essay. You could also try a tease. So when you think of seeing a teaser trailer for a movie, you think of a short piece of video that gives you just enough information for you to get intrigued by and interested in the movie, only enough to get you to go actually pay the price of the ticket and go see the movie. They're not going to show you the boring parts. They're not going to show you a lot of dialogue. They're not going to show you the credits. They're going to show you amazing action sequences with the hopes that you'll want to go see the movie. In that same sense, a teaser for an essay in an introduction or thesis statement would be a few clues about what's to come, a few interesting ideas with the idea that you're going to explain those later. So one that comes to my mind from a recent class presentation, a student had written, while originally written for the oboe, this piece was then expanded to other instruments. So the idea that that would be a teaser, that we're going to talk, that he's later going to talk in the essay about how it was written only for the oboe, but that it could have been expanded for other things. So that's an interesting musical type tease. You could try a rhetorical question, which would be asking a question that doesn't really need answering, but that's still an interesting thought to plant in the reader's mind, such as, could Beethoven ever have imagined that his symphony would be included in the musical score for a 2016 feature film? Of course, the answer is no, he couldn't have imagined that, but it's an interesting idea. It kind of bridges the past and the present. It gets the reader interested in something they may have seen or heard about in recent times to get them to pay attention to past times, right? We've already talked about interesting facts, and again, I have written down here modern relevance. So if you know of any ways in which the piece or the historical topic that you're writing about has been used or referenced in the most recent past, some way of engaging the reader in the present times, that's a good way of linking them back to getting them interested in the origin or the birth story of like a symphony or, you know, a piece of literature, what have you. The second section is ways to help your reader/listener. I wrote reader/listener because in this sense you'll have a reader for your paper, but if you're giving an oral presentation, you'll also have a listener. So you need to keep both of those imaginary figures in mind to give all the information that a reader and or a listener might need for full comprehension. That means providing enough context for your reader and your listener. If you talk about people, if you talk about terms, musical terms, if you're talking about historical movements such as the Renaissance or the Enlightenment, you're going to want to be able to back up just enough so that a well-informed academic individual, such as myself, who's not well schooled in music or the humanities, would still be able to understand. So of course your professor will understand because he is the expert on all things in your class, and you will understand because you're the expert on this particular topic. But you need to think about the other people in your class if you're giving a presentation, what kind of context they need to understand, and you also need to think about the genuine reader, which is someone like me, not part of the class, who should still be able to, if reading your paper or listening to your presentation, be able to understand all the complex ideas and things that you're throwing out there. So just provide enough context so that that is always clear. And explain terms. I think I mentioned that earlier. Last section would be things to avoid. So a few things to avoid specifically for this class when thinking about thesis and introductions would be rewriting or restating the assignment expectations or the assignment instructions. That would not be a good use of your time in an oral presentation or in your paper to say that the purpose of this paper is to discuss a single musical piece and its history throughout time, or its relevance in modern times, or the impact on its audience at that time. Now, I don't know your specific instructions, but whatever they are, know that you don't need to spend any time rehashing what you were expected to do. Everyone in the room knows what you were expected to do. I would also avoid two strategies that you might have learned in high school or in earlier writing, which is just more foundational ways of starting an essay or giving what might have been known as hooks or interesting openers in earlier classes that are not as effective in college. So you're at a college level and you need to be able to use more sophisticated techniques and strategies. So a few of strategies to abandon, if there are your favorites, are opening with dictionary definitions. That is not that useful of a strategy. And the second one would be large general statements like, since the dawn of time there has been music. So those statements, while also not serving much of a purpose in an essay, are most of the time untrue if you really think about it. So avoid those types of strategies, but the one great thing about this class, which will be my last thing to say in this video, is that in some classes you might feel like you are given a very strict set of rules about what you can write about. And this is a class where it's okay to take a few risks, safe risks, in terms of writing and giving a presentation. You can try new things, you can be a little bit funny, you can have your voice shine through, you've got some wiggle room, and this is a great class for trying out new writing techniques and not playing it too safe. So just stay interesting and fun. You have my information at the beginning of the video. If you need any help during the semester, just feel free to reach out. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.